Play's Insider's Guide to Greater Manchester. If we haven't met, I am Will Stewart, the Executive Director of Stay Work Play. And we're a statewide nonprofit whose mission is to attract and retain more young people here in the Granite State. I'd like to begin today by thanking Eversource, our host, for having us here in this beautiful facility. Energy Park as a whole facility is beautiful, and the Energy Bar is really just a beautiful, fantastic space. And so thank you for hosting us here today. It's very much appreciated. Eversource has been a longtime sponsor of Stay Work Play and our mission, and they are the presenting sponsor of not just the Insider's Guide to Greater Manchester, but the entire Insider's Guide series that we'll be publishing over the next 18 months. So, part of my job at Stay Work Play is to go around and talk to business owners and human resources professionals across the state to really help us keep our ear to the ground as to what challenges that employers are facing with regard to attracting and retaining young talent. And one of the things that I've heard over and over again from these folks across the state in a variety of fields is that they say that increasingly with younger employees, they're having to sell not just the job that they're trying to fill, not just the company and the benefits package and all of this good stuff, but they're increasingly having to sell the region that they're in. That young people especially, and I would argue all employees, want to know, is this region where I'm going to be living and working, is it interesting? Is there cool stuff to do? And so they're finding that they're having to really start kind of being almost a tour guide and a mini chamber of commerce in and of themselves to sell their areas. So that's kind of the impetus for these Insider's Guides to help these employers better sell their regions. And with the financial support of Eversource and some content support from, in this case, the Manchester Young Professionals, and as we go across the state doing these in every region with the other young professionals groups across the state, we're going to be putting together these guides, which can really be used as a talent and attraction tool for these companies to showcase really the unique aspects that each region has. Think of things like where to find the local craft breweries, where to find the cheapest falafel and the best burritos, and where's the local dog park, where are the town hiking trails, basically what makes each region unique and interesting. And these are a lot of things that can often take a lot of time. I was just talking to Donna Gamache about a place that I discovered thanks to Angie. Lived here 15 years, never heard of a place called Umami, which is a great restaurant in Northwood, right? Northfield, yes. But it just goes to show this is a cool place that never before heard of and discovered it. I wish I had known about it years ago. But those are the kind of places that we're hoping to showcase, kind of these best kept secrets in each region of the state. And the problem is that oftentimes I like to say we're a state of best kept secrets. And sometimes it takes a while to find these neat places, but it's time that we just don't have here in New Hampshire. Stay Work Play commissioned a survey about a year and a half ago, again supported by Eversource, that found that about 1/3 of young people in New Hampshire said they're either likely or very likely to leave New Hampshire within the next 2 years. So we have a very short window to connect with these folks, to connect into their communities, and ultimately to the state. And that's kind of a secondary purpose of these guides, is to help make those connections faster and quicker so that folks stay around. So today we're here to celebrate the first of 9 guides that will be released, of course, an Insider's Guide to Greater Manchester, which was put together, as I said, with the help of the Manchester Young Professionals. And this guide is available free, download as a PDF at stayworkplay.org/insider. And as you can see, we have the nice URL on these cards, which you can see on the table. Please take one with you and download at your convenience. The next guide we're going to be publishing in September will be the Insider's Guide to Greater Concord with the assistance of the Concord Young Professionals Network, here represented with Angie Lane and Dr. Doug Phelan. Welcome. And with future guides coming out every other month after that. So as you can see, we're very excited here today, and we're very excited for these programs and these guides to kick off over the next year and a half. So with that, I want to again thank Eversource for supporting this and introduce Bill Quinlan, the New Hampshire president of Eversource and COO. Bill.
Thank you, Will, and I do want to welcome you all to Energy Park, and in particular to the Energy Bar. So, little history about this space. When was it? A year or two? 2 years. A year ago, this space was basically a conference room and a small cafeteria. There was a wall here, and it was very nondescript and just a series of vending machines. And the idea for creating a area for collaboration, which is a little bit more upbeat, actually came from our young professionals group here in New Hampshire, and we were pleased to make it a reality. It's become a location for folks to meet informally and have conversations and to get out of their cubicles, which, as we've heard from many of our young professionals, is something that millennials today welcome. You know, they don't want to spend 8 or 10 hours a day in a cubicle. They want to interact with others. So, you know, that was one piece of great advice we received from our young professionals. But this issue of workforce development and how do we retain and attract that next generation is terribly important to businesses like ours. So we're in the energy business, which is undergoing a lot of change. It's becoming technologically sophisticated. There's a lot of interest in clean energy, moving from traditional power plants to cleaner energy, and it's going to require a lot of innovation, new talent, new ways of thinking to accomplish that. We also have an issue with the demographics of our current workforce. Many of us have been in the business for a long time, and we're at the end of our careers, so how do you bring in that new talent, attract them to a utility environment, get them excited about the future, and then retain them once they're here? We've determined that we're not going to be able to do that alone. It's going to require partnerships, and one of which Will just spoke to, our partnership with Stay Work Play. We honor that partnership. We think it's very valuable. Will talked about the survey that was conducted that ultimately led to these insider guides. That's an example. Other partnerships that we've been pursuing have been, how do we develop the talent of the future, whether it's the physical workers at a community college or engineers who require advanced degrees. These are partnerships and relationships that we are building. Another area for partnerships for us is our Young Professional Resource Group. We've launched that here in New Hampshire. Caitlin, how many folks do we have in it? 40 or 50?
Right now we have more than 60
More than
members.
60 members. They provide great advice, great leadership to the company. Really, to me, they're part of the solution. And I know they're partnered with the Manchester Young Professionals Group currently, and I know we work together on the Insider's Guide. Just another example of partnerships. So we're all in this together. I think this is a challenge facing businesses across the state. How do we attract and retain that talent? How do we compete for that talent with neighboring states? If you talk to business leaders here and elsewhere, it's the key to continued economic prosperity. So it's something that we all should be interested in for our own personal well-being, but for the well-being of the state. We as a company are very committed to it, committed to work with all our partners in making it a reality. You know, for me, it's very appropriate that we're starting this in Greater Manchester. This happens to be our New Hampshire headquarters. We're here in the city, been here for a very long time. We have very strong relationships within the city. We have a mayor, who I'm going to introduce in a moment, who is very passionate about workforce development and education generally. We see that in many of her actions and the leadership she's demonstrating here in the city of Manchester. So very good and appropriate that we're starting here. We look forward to moving on to Concord soon. And with that, I hope you all use the guide. I happened to take a look at an advanced copy of it today, and I think it's great. I think I've already got some great new options for restaurants that I was not aware of and cultural things. So I think it's exciting. Hopefully it'll become a great resource for those. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce Mayor Joyce Craig, who's going to share her thoughts about Greater Manchester.
So thank you, Bill, and it's such an honor to be here with all of you to talk about this important subject and to celebrate the launch of the Insider's Guide, and thrilled that you started with the best place in New Hampshire to do that. So I'm in a unique position serving as mayor of Manchester, the community that I was born and raised in and the community that I have chosen to raise my family in. I get to work with Will Stewart as an alderman on the board of mayor and aldermen, and Bill Quinlan at Eversource as a partner, true partner with the city of Manchester. So it's great to have young individuals like Will and Tim Baines and others serving on the board of mayor and aldermen, so we understand what young people want in Manchester. And through that and through communication to our office and throughout the city, we understand that you want to live in downtown, and we've seen an increase in housing in our downtown. You want walking trails and pedestrian and bike-friendly roads. So we've been able to make some inroads on that, and many, many other things. And then, as Bill talked about briefly, the partnerships are very important, and workforce development is critical. And when I first took office, one of the things I heard from many businesses is that they were having a hard time finding talent. And so we worked together to develop a program that's bridging basically high school students with businesses in Manchester. We started with Velcro, but this fall we are implementing Eversource Academy at Central High School. So basically, there's a 12-week curriculum. Eversource employees will be going into our high school and teaching our students both soft skills and hard skills, so they understand the work opportunities right here in their backyard. And our hope is that they stay here and work here, raise their families here, and invest in our community and give back like all of you have. So I just want you all to know that it's really important for me to understand what your needs are. Please continue to let us know, contact our office. It's important that as a community we work together to make Manchester and other communities throughout the state friendly to young professionals. We need to keep you here. So have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, as we wrap up, we'd like to hear from a couple of young folks here who have chosen to make Manchester their home. And the first I'd like to call up is Sarah B. If I can make you go first, put you on the spot.
Right, I guess, think so.
Tell us about your Manchester story.
Sure. So I live and work right here in Manchester, and I also did grow up here. I'm as Stay Work Play defines a boomeranger. So I left to go to Colorado for school, started my career out in Colorado, moved to Nashville for a short time, and then eventually came back up to Boston. And I remember on more than one occasion telling my boyfriend, who's also from Manchester, that I would never live in Manchester. It's like I just came from Boulder and Denver and Nashville, and not that I had a bad upbringing here at all, but I was just in really happening spots, and I didn't think I wanted to be back here. But I spent a year commuting to Boston, and a lot of time on the road and in a lot of traffic, and learning that rents in Boston are really expensive, and realizing that I really wanted to spend most of my time up north. I spend a lot of time skiing in the wintertime, up at the lakes in the summertime, and so it kind of was this major mind shift of realizing that this is exactly where I wanted to be. So I had the opportunity to start a career here in Manchester about a year and a half ago, and we will never look back. My boyfriend bought a house here last August, almost a year ago, and we could not be happier. Elm Street is really different than it was, or at least how I remembered it being in high school. Just even today, to walk outside of my office and to go strolling down the street to find a place for lunch, I mean, there's so much happening. People are outside and walking around, and there are so many restaurants now with places to eat outside. I mean, this is we don't have one of these at my office, but it's so spectacular to see so many people out and about and so much happening. I mean, certainly a ton of new restaurants, more things to do. The craft brewery scene is amazing. If you haven't been on the Manch Vegas Brew Bus yet, do that. It's a ton of fun. And so it's exciting to see more businesses that are working together, be it, to do more yoga outside or to do bar classes in a brewery. There's a lot happening now, and there's a lot of really exciting and fun out-of-the-box things going on. And it's really exciting to see that there's such an appetite for it from young professionals, but really people of all ages. I had the opportunity to speak at an event at Runner's Alley on Elm Street a couple weeks ago, and that's, they sell running gear, but the owner wanted to bring in a group of women, and she had a few speakers lined up, talking about running and being motivational speakers, and just, offering motivational advice. And I'm like, this is a retail store. There are 40 people here, who want to get together on a Wednesday night, and certainly there were margaritas there, which I'm sure was a draw, but it was just, it was exciting to see that there's an appetite for people to get together and to be a part of the community, and that's what's, I think that's what's exciting about these insider guides, is maybe you're not sure where to start, and so, here's a list of places that you can go check out, and there's really something for everybody. So I had the pleasure of being part of the group that, you know, shared ideas, and just it was so fun to be a part of because there were so many things that I didn't know about that I learned about, you know, new places to go or things to do and parks to explore. Um, so I think it took, you know, leaving for a little bit to really appreciate the upbringing that I had here, but we have so much to offer here in Manchester and in our state, and I'm so excited about NH Rocks. It sounds like there's some great collaborative stuff going on, you know, really from north to south, east to west. So it's a great place to live, and right now I can't imagine really ever living somewhere else. So thanks for the opportunity to be here and share my story, and happy to chat with anyone after. Thank you.
So I'm excited to introduce our next speaker. Tom Fuller is an energy efficiency analyst here at Eversource, and he's also a member of our Young Professionals Business Resource Group, as well as the new co-sponsor of our LGBTQ Business Resource Group as well. I also want to mention that we call them BRGs, Business Resource Groups, in all 3 states that we serve. And Devin is here all the way from Connecticut, so I wanted to thank him for coming up to be with us today, as well as all the members of our BRG that are here to join us. So with that, I'll introduce Tom, and he's going to share his story.
Thanks, Caitlin. So Tom Fuller. I work here at Eversource in energy efficiency. I'm from Boston, actually the greater Boston area originally. I moved to New Hampshire almost 3 years ago now to come work here at Eversource. Grew up outside the city. Commuting to Boston was crazy, as anyone can imagine. Moving to New Hampshire, I've been with my partner now for almost 5 years, and he lived in New Hampshire. And so I made the big move to come up here, and I was very nervous to find work, what would my commute be like, where am I going to go? I don't know any place around there. I'd never really been to New Hampshire. And now I never want to leave. We live in the northern part of the state in the Lakes region, and I'm absolutely in love with, yeah, it's amazing up there, isn't it? You really can't beat the beauty of the lakes and like being able to go to the mountains, skiing, snowmobiling. I don't know if anyone goes way up north to Pittsburgh. It's like incredible in the winter. I've fallen in love with the state. I know my partner loves it here. We don't ever really see ourselves leaving. I'm really excited to check out the guide, and I want to hear more of your tips about Manchester. I do live up north, so I spend a lot of time around there, and I have many tips for anyone who needs hiking recommendations, restaurants, anything up there. But I really fell in love with working here at Eversource. We're in like an amazing location, and I always find new places around town to try. I just went to the Bookery not long ago for coffee, which I had never been to and loved. So we've really kind of fallen in love with the area. We're actually thinking of trying to move a little bit closer to Manchester, which would be amazing for me. My partner's a state trooper, so he's all around. We'd love to travel everywhere, and we just feel really fortunate to be living in a great state that has so much going on, and there's so much new things popping up all the time from every corner of the state. And so really fortunate and really happy to be here. Happy to chat more about my move, what it was like trying to find a place to live, and like commuting. So thank you, everyone. Happy to be here.
Well, thank you, Tom. We're definitely going to be tapping your expertise for the Lakes region and up north when we get to those guides soon. Thank you also, Sarah. If anyone hasn't noticed, check out Sarah's ankle down here. You'll see a great New Hampshire tattoo. That's dedication to the Granite State. We appreciate that at Stay, Work, Play. Again, thank you all for coming out. We have a lot of great food from some great New Hampshire restaurants and greater New Hampshire restaurants. We have some stuff from the Copper Door, Cactus Jack's, Da Kun Thai, another one of those great best kept secrets, a great Thai restaurant over on the south end on Brown Ave. And of course, we couldn't have an event without tenders from the back room. So please stick around, have some of those. We have some great beverages over here too. Thank you again to Eversource for all of your support of the Insider's Guides, but really to Stay, Work, Play and your dedication to attraction and retention efforts here in New Hampshire. It's very much appreciated. Again, thank you all for coming and have a great night. Thank you.